Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Hello? Hello, hello. All right, I think everyone can hear me. Good morning, everyone. Sorry. Yeah, Happy New Year's, Feliz Año Nuevo to everyone watching this not live or now. Um, if I'm looking over here, I just want you to know that we do have our YouTube live. So I am gonna give more focus to you all here on our YouTube, but also for anyone just seeing me here, know if I'm looking over here, we got our Instagram and YouTube, excuse me, our Facebook family. So thank you so much, everyone, for jumping on. We'll get started in a bit. But how's everyone doing? How did everyone spend their New Year's Eve? Sorry. Great. Okay, I love that. Yeah, it was beautiful. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. Um, we really hope, it's 2023. It's here. We're going to talk a lot about how to make sure we set ourselves up, for success for, 2023. And by the way, if you're just jumping on right now, make sure to get your notepad, pen out. Just because we're going to share some things that are really going to help you make 2023 your greatest year, whatever that looks like for you specifically. If you're trying to work on your health, mindset, your relationships, business, family, whatever that is for you. So make sure you have that out. Have your questions ready. I think the best way, and we'll try to go with this, is that we're gonna just run with it, speak for a bit. We'll share some things, and then if anyone has any questions that come up, we'll answer them as we go. And then at the end, for those who do stay to the end, we're gonna share a free gift to help you make 2023 your greatest year, right? Because and I guess maybe we can just get going. But basically, just to add to that quick note is there's going to be a lot happening in 2023, right? And we'll kind of bring 2022 into this. But how can you make sure that 2023 is a better year, a greater year for you, right? Sometimes distractions happen. Sometimes not feeling excited, motivated. Things like fear, failure, doubt. Oh, what if people say this about me? What if no one listens? What if whatever, right? Or you might even doubt yourself. I don't know if I can do this. I don't deserve this thing, right? And if that's you, make sure you stick to that, because this gift, or what I'm going to share at the end, is really going to help you set yourself up for success, right? But with that, let's just get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for jumping on, whether you're watching this live, you're jumping on a little bit later, whatever it is, or you're watching the replay. Happy New Year's. I really hope you're having an amazing day so far. I think it's so important to be intentional about starting the year off strong, right? So however you start today, I highly encourage you to be intentional about making it a great day, right? Whatever that looks like for you, just make it a great day. And just, if I could share real fast, I was actually with my fiance and her family yesterday. Spent the towards the end with them, and it was amazing, right? And earlier today, I was just coming back to our home and stuff, driving, and unfortunately, there was a car accident. There's a car accident on the freeway, and like my ride back, was delayed. Like, it was a slower. Basically, what I expected to be let's say a 15-minute drive was more like a 45-minute drive, and immediately I got upset. Like, it just kind of came into me. It was like I was upset, right? But then I had to kind of just step back and realize that could have been me. What if that was me? And hopefully, whatever that accident was, the families or whoever it was are fine, right? But the reason why I'm bringing this up is coming into 2023, right? Try, if the goal is to make it the best year possible, whatever that looks like for you. Understand that there's going to be things that come up that may seem like they're trying to hold you back, trying to bring you down, whatever that is, right? But understand that if you kind of work at it, step back, right? Process something, it actually is something that you can actually appreciate. And so after I kind of had to step back a bit, I was like, you know what, I'm actually thankful, although the drive back's going to be a little longer. I'm grateful that I'm healthy, that I'm here, that I'm fine, right? That nothing bad happened to me, right? Because a lot of people, during this time might, drink and drive, something like that. There's accidents, and nothing happened to me. So I kind of had to reframe that. But to kind of start off, right? I got a couple points that I want to share with you all. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat, and then we'll kind of sort them out and ask them, answer them as we go, right? So the very first thing is, if you're trying to make 2023 your year, right? If you're trying to improve it, if you're trying to make it better, if 2022 was just wasn't it, or if it was, but you want to elevate that, you really want to grow, right? The very first thing that I would, encourage or recommend you to do, right, is take some time, right, and really think about where are you, like where are you today in terms of where you're trying to go, right? And you want to become aware of that, because what happens is so many people they want to accomplish things or whatever, I want to buy a new home, I want to do this thing, I want to work on my health, my mindset, my relationship, I want to build this business, whatever it may be, but they don't ever spend time like thinking about where they are, right? And the reason why this is so important is because if you were to tell me, hey Felipe, I'm trying to work on my health, Felipe, I'm trying to buy this home, I'm trying to work on my mindset, I'm trying to, right, I can't tell you, or I wouldn't want to tell you, hey, then if you're trying to buy the home, go to the gym, start working out, right? That would be bad advice, or it just wouldn't make sense, right? So understanding where you're trying to go is very important, because if you can think of yourself as like a ship, as a vessel, you're heading somewhere, or you're moving, right? You're moving, time is passing, you're just going. But most people don't know where they're heading. And once you realize where you're going and where you are, you can actually start seeing, okay, you know what, I'm here and I'm trying to get here. If you can kind of think of steps, something like that, then I need to take the next step. Okay. And the next step requires me to do X, Y, and Z. And then once I get to this, then I can do the next. And then I can do right. But most people don't think about that. So I would recommend, if you're gonna start off, I and again, if you haven't done this already, I highly recommend you to do it, is take some time, take 20, 30 minutes and like really reflect on, how was 2022? Where are you? Where are you trying to go? And if anything, ask yourself, if you were trying to work on those things, like let's just say, for example, you're trying to work on your mindset, your health, whatever it is, and in 2022, but it just didn't work out, and you're trying to kind of get back into it in 2023, focus on what happened that caused you to not actually get there. Like what was it? And be honest. Like I highly recommend you all to be open and honest with yourself, because that's really the only way you're going to grow. Like if you start making excuses and say, oh, it was him, it was my partner, it was my wife, my husband, it was him, her, it was my whatever, you start throwing the blame onto to other people, you're never going to actually be able to grow. Because the biggest thing, and I mean, this is a hard, I shared this yesterday in one of our posts, was that the biggest thing that I learned in just reflecting on this year, 2022, and trying to grow for myself, my family, fiance, and the business, in our business with Iron Prosperity, I realized that I am holding myself back. And not to say that I hold myself back now, it's just that during times that I'm trying to grow exponentially, like where I'm trying to do something that I've never done before, right? Like speak in front of you here. Like I felt nervous. I was like, well, what if no one, what if people judge me, or what if, whatever it may be. I was afraid. Like, what if no one, I don't know, what if no one listens, right? But I had to take the leap of faith. I had to actually, become the person that could do the thing. And I was seeing that I literally, again, I'm aware now. I was aware where I was, and I was aware of where I wanted to go. But as I was thinking about taking that next step, I was seeing that I would hold myself back, right? Oh, and again, thinking about like how does that manifest? How does that even come about? Is I would say, oh, well, what if people don't listen? Oh, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe this isn't for me, right? And that's me personally. Like, I want to be completely honest with y'all. Like, these things do affect me as well. But I don't let them control me, right? And that's super important. I don't let them control me, right? So I encourage that. I'll leave it there for that specific one. Let me know if that makes sense. If you have any questions, otherwise I can go ahead and talk about the next thing that kind of brings this together, right? So let me know what y'all think. And then so to kind of keep adding to this, right? You took some time, right? Where you're going, where you is going to be your year. I understand that. Okay, hey, I'm trying to work on my energy. I'm trying to work on my relationship. I'm trying to work on whatever, right? Next thing that you got to focus on, and this is where you have to do the work, right? A lot of people say knowledge is power. I don't believe that. I believe that knowledge is potential power, right? Knowledge, and the reason why I say that is potential power is really something like, let's say you had a car, right? A car, like any car, right? But you didn't know how to drive this thing. You didn't even know it was a car that can take you from point A to point B, right? Most people are like that car in that they themselves, like their mind, their brain, or excuse me, more of the mind, can take them places, right? Can help them grow, can help them accomplish things. But most people don't know how to use it to get them to go places. So to make it make more sense, if you can think of a car, let's say I have this car, right? And I don't know that in order to use this thing that gets me to point A to point B, this car, I need to put the key into it, turn it on, take it from parking to drive and then go, right? So the reason why I'm bringing this up is that you have to implement, right? Knowledge is potential power. So today we're going to share, a bunch of gems. Hopefully you just got the first one already, but you have to implement. You have to be able to take that information, actually act, right? It's like you have that car. Great. You got the information. Felipe, you set me up for success. Great. But you need to take the key, right? Metaphorically speaking, and put it in the car and put the car and drive to actually take the action. Like, I can't do the work for you. Like, I love you as much as possible. We love you. We want you to grow. We want you to succeed, right? That's what we're all about here at I Am Prosperity. But we don't do the work for you, right? The information is on us. The execution is on you, right? So here's the question, or it's more of like what I would recommend you to do is, what's one thing that you can do on a daily basis that will help you get to where you want to be, right? We now know that we are here, right? If you think of like steps, and then we're trying to go here. What can I do today to get closer, right? What can I do, right? Is it reading? Is it journaling? Is it walking outside to work on my health? Is it exercising? What is it? And I guess to tie, a deeper purpose or principle into this is that a lot of people, and this is what I would recommend you not to do. Like, if there's anything you don't want to do, it is this. A lot of people, and if you're watching this now or the replay, is that a lot of people coming into New Year's and stuff like that, you feel excited, you feel motivated, you're around your family, your friends, you're eating good food, drinks, and all this stuff, right? You feel good, right? And maybe you today, I'm not saying it's you all, right? I don't want to call anyone out, but let's just say it was you, right? Just right now, you're watching this, like, you know what? I actually need to write my New Year's resolution. I forgot about it. I'm going to write it down. Or, oh, you know what? Maybe I should actually revisit that thing. What happens is most people try to grow when they feel excited or when they're motivated, and they try to do it all at once. Like right now, if you're watching this or the replay, whatever, you might be excited, like, you know what, he's right, what he's saying, I love it. Let's work on my health. I'm gonna lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it is, or just anything like that is a huge goal. And don't get me wrong, you should definitely have big goals and things like that. But the thing is, and I guess this is really tying in, I'm not going to dive deep into this, but this is really tying into the success formula, right? Which is be, do, have, right? A lot of people know what they desire, right? I don't have to explain that to you. You know what that is, right? You know what your goals are for 2023. And a lot of people, when they get excited, New Year's resolution, oh, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do it all, right? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to read and all this, cook and all that stuff. But what happens is they don't become the person that can do all those things. And for the most part, most people, what happens is when they have those New Year's resolutions, feelings, and all that stuff, right? They'll go and do the thing, whatever they said that they were going to do, for a couple days, right? Maybe a couple weeks, max 1 month, right? So by the end of this January, right? And again, this is me telling you what not to do, right? So don't do this. What I'm telling you right now is don't do this, right? Everyone just tries to do it all at once, right? They try to work on the house, meal prep, all the stuff and whatever. And then by the end of January 31st, right? Most people just stop, right? And I'm telling you, this is probably going to happen, right? I hope, I'm serious. I hope you take this and like let it sink in. Like maybe like think about it, right? How was 2020 for you, right? What happened in 2021, right? What was 2022 like? Was that you? And if it was, be honest with yourself. Like be honest with yourself, right? Because there's actually this study, and I still haven't found it yet, but I'll look at it and link it and stuff. But there's a 2018 study where they tracked 100 people who had their New Year's resolution, right? Only 4% of people stuck to their New Year's resolution. 4%. 4% of people followed through on what they said they were going to do, right? So what happened to the 96%? What happened, right? And again, this is just what not to do. What not to do is don't try to do everything all at once. So thinking about what's one thing that I can do on a daily basis, let it be something that you can do. Like you can do it. Like right. Like if for example, let's say you're trying to work on your health, right? Maybe running 10 miles a day for you isn't in the cards right now, and that's okay, right? But maybe going to walk around the block or jogging or biking, like let it be something that you can do, right? Because if you haven't become the person that can do the things, you're going to be that 96% of people who just stop by the end of January. And I really hope you take this and run with it. I'm just saying, like, and we'll probably do a follow-up video to this at the end of January, right? But that's that. Let me know what y'all thought about that. And then if anything, I do want to kind of bring in some of y'all to get some questions to really like serve you at the highest level. Let me know what's one thing that you feel held you back or is might be holding you back in 2023 or held you back in 2022. Because I really want to help, give you all the sauce, the blueprint to help you make 2023 your year, right? So I'll let y'all do that. Go ahead, put it in the comments, and then I'll jump into the next point, and then I'll kind of bring it all together. But in terms of the next point, let me know what y'all think about what we're sharing, right? But in terms of the next thing is thinking about expectations, right? We've already talked about where we are, where we're going. We talked about where our goals, right? That you took that, you did the work, right? Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. You have to act on it, right? So you took some time, right? You worked on your goals, and you know where you are, right? Okay. Thank you, Queen. Accountability. Okay, we'll get to that. Thank you so much. So I'll tie that into this right now. So we have our goals. We know where we are, where we're going. The thing for most people, and I guess maybe even thinking about why do 96% of people don't like, why is it that 96% of people don't follow through on their New Year's resolutions? And it is this, right? This is what we believe, right? It's expectation. Expectation in that, and funny enough, you see the little Christmas decorations, right? When you were a kid, right? When I was a kid, I believe, and if any kids are watching this, take them off, whatever, I'm about to pop some bubbles, right? When I was a kid, I believed in Santa Claus. Like I believed that on Christmas Day, or this person, right, was gonna fly, and and again, I'm not saying it's whatever, I believed it. I had the expectation that when I woke up on Christmas Day, right, I was gonna get something, right? Whether it was that bicycle or that toy or whatever. Like I believed, like I had the expectation that was gonna happen, right? And there was no there was nothing to like actually back that up. Like it was just something that was inside of me. Like that's just what I believe, right? That was my expectation. Let me now tie this into this, right? Whatever your goal is, right? I want you to think about expectation. What is your expectation about this goal in 2023? Right? Let's say your goal, and I know I just kind of stick to that goal of working on your health. If your goal is to do that, improve your energy, your health, work on your relationships, family, whatever it is, business, what is your expectation? What is your expectation about that goal or goals? Do you expect, right? Do you have that belief that you're actually gonna do it, or do you, because you live in your past, you expect to have another 2020 where you don't do it, like you just start and then you stop, right? And this is super important, right? This is super important to understand because having that expectation that you're going to succeed or be able to do it is like completely free. You don't have to be anyone that is like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be a someone or do a something thing to have that expectation, right? Just like how I mentioned about the, when I was a little kid and I believed in Santa, there was nothing to actually like back that up or support it, right? It was really my parents, right? My parents, my family buying us those gifts, right? But now that I know that, I was like, oh, I see that. And so let's say, for example, let's say you're trying to work on your health, but you believe or you have that expectation that, oh man, today's the first day I got to start working out or go to the gym or whatever it is. And then you already know, man, I hate this thing. It's going to be hard. I hate it because when I go to the gym, I'm going to start feeling this way. And, what if people look at me and all this stuff and whatever. Whether you know this or not, you're setting yourself up for failure because your expectation of it is that it's going to be a terrible experience. And I don't know about you all, right? But to keep it simple, human beings do what they do for one reason, and that is because they want to, because they feel like it, right? I don't know. There's a couple people out here who will do things that they need to do despite of how they feel about it. Right, and that kind of causing like discipline, like having that self-discipline, and I guess bringing it into the accountability. Let me know if that makes sense, y'all. So when a person mentioned, one of the issues is accountability, right? I'll say this in terms of accountability, and now thinking about expectations, is that to help you make sure you reach your goal. And thinking about accountability is that I recommend you stick to doing one thing on a daily basis, right? And I guess I'll bring in this point that I have that I wrote this down is in terms of accountability. It is very important for you to have that self accountability because again, you're the one who's going to do the work, right? You're the one showing up for yourself. It is very important for you to be able to do what you say you're going to do, right? Because a lot of people say that they're going to, this is my year, right? 2023 is my year. I'm going to do it. I'm going to start on the 1st today. And it's now. And it's in the morning. And now reality is kicking in and you're just like, you know what? I'm a little hungover. I'm not feeling it. You have to be very careful about what you say you're going to do and what you do. Because if you say, this is I'm going to start today, right? And then you don't do it and you do that over and over again, your belief about yourself is that you're never going to do anything. Like, you know how there's people who are liars? Like they lie, like they'll tell you something and it doesn't have to be anything that's bad, right? But they'll tell you like, oh, hey, I need some help. Can you show up tomorrow? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be there, whatever, at 6 o'clock, 7 a.m. or whatever. And you know that they're not going to show up. That's basically the way yourself sees yourself. And in terms of accountability, hopefully this is making sense, right? Is you need to do what you say you're going to do. right? And it doesn't have to be anything huge. Like, this is why I'm telling you about do one thing that you can do on a daily basis without overwhelming yourself. Because if you say, okay, tomorrow, right, or today, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm a lift, squat 300 pounds, and you've never been to the gym in like a couple years, whatever. Let me tell you, that's gonna be real hard, right? And then the next day, you're gonna feel terrible in that you're gonna be sore, right? Your body's like, what the heck happened, right? You need to set yourself up for success, right? By doing the thing that you can do right now in this moment, right? You have to start somewhere, right? And so hopefully that makes sense. Let me know. Let me know if you have any questions on that. But you have to be able to do what you can do, right? So don't try to, compare yourself or start at a higher level of like, okay, I'm a lift like the people that go to the gym every single day, who've been there for years, right? One thing that we share within our 3-day growth challenge, and we'll talk about that in a bit, is when you start something, right, whatever that is, like anything. Let's say you want to learn how to cook, whether you want to learn how to drive or something, anything, right? Would you say you are an expert right away, or would you say you're a beginner? Right, a beginner, right? And hopefully that makes sense. When you're a beginner at something, are you good at it or are you bad? Are you gonna do well or are you gonna make mistakes? Right? You're gonna make mistakes. And so what you have to understand is, as you're trying to grow and whatever that part of your life is, make sure you're okay with starting small. Like, and when I say small, it's not like do little things. It just means do what you can do in that moment, right? Don't try to go, and again, if you can, go for it. If you're trying to work on your health and you can start with the 10 miles a day, go for it, do that. But for most people, you can't do that. So start off with just jogging, walking, right? Just start showing up, because most people can't even show up, right? Just to be honest, like, most people can't even show up, right? You tell them, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, but their accountability is, I'm a liar, I'm not gonna show up, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know what y'all think. Yeah, take small steps on a longer term goal, and we'll talk about that later on. I things that we're going to share in terms of consistency. But thank you. Let me questions that answer, but hopefully everything's making sense. I got one more thing that I wanted to share with y'all, and then if you do have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll go ahead and answer them. But the next thing, and this is something that did come within our inner group. About growing, like, what's the biggest thing that holds most people back, and what came up a lot was the fear of failure, right? And to be honest, like, that does sometimes hit me, or does influence me. But why does the fear of failure hold people back, right? And coming into 2023, right, the intention, the goal is to have a better year, a great year, whatever that is, right? But in order to do that, we have to follow through. Like, we actually have to be able to show up, right? Because again, knowledge is not power, knowledge is potential power, and you have to show up for yourself, right? That's the reality. Like, as much as I want to just think about knowing what it takes to, let's say, have great health, by me just knowing that and never doing anything about it, I'll never have good health, right? And sometimes the fear of failing holds people back from taking action. So how do we get rid of this resistance, right? And if you can think about it, let's say you're driving this car now, right? You learn how to drive the car, and you're going from point A to point B. You're driving down this highway, and you're trying to go down this thing for good health, right? If you can think of it that way. So you're pushing, you're pressing down on the gas pedal, but every 5 seconds you're hitting the brake, right? How long, or if anything, will you be able to get there? Like, how long will it take you for you to get to that destination, right? It'll probably take long because of, metaphorically speaking, that fear of failure. So how do I get rid of that, right? How do I get rid of the fear of failure? So I'll say this. One is that failure growing up, and I think in education systems, and within my own family, my own experience, that I think failing is looked at as a bad thing, right? failing is look like it's a bad thing. Like you failed. Like why'd you fail, right? But what I encourage you all to think about or even accept is failure is actually a good thing. Like I'm sure you've all heard of that story of Albert Einstein. You know, he basically it took him 1,000 tries or 999 attempts to learn how to create the incandescent light bulb, right? And then when they asked him, how long did it take you, or what was it? It took you 999 times or 1,000 times to create the light bulb. He says, no, I learned just how not to make an incandescent light bulb 999 times, and it took me that one time, right? And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is that you are going to fail if by the way we understand failure, right? Like that is the truth. Like I'm telling you right now, 2023 is going to be your year. But in order for it to be your year, you have to take this action, right? And as I mentioned, when you start something new, right? Because most of us here are going to do things that we've never done before. Like that makes sense, right? Hopefully that's not confusing anyone. But if you're trying to make 2023 your year, a better year, a greater year, you want to go here and we're here. In order to get from here to here, there's this gap, right? There's things within this gap that we don't know how to do. So we're beginners. We are beginners. We're novice. Like, and as any beginner in anything that we just literally just mentioned earlier, we're going to make mistakes. I want you to be okay with making mistakes. Like I'm completely honest. I want you to be okay with, I don't know, making mistakes, looking like a fool or whatever it is, right? Because I'm telling you, of that study that we shared, only 4% of people stick to their goals, right? So if distraction is a thing and fear of failure is a thing that's holding us back from getting where we want to go, and in order to get to where we want to go, we have to take that action. But fear of failure and distractions are holding us back. When it comes up, when it does occur, how do you not avoid it, but how do you overcome it, right? And it is this: be okay with failing, be okay with, and I'm not saying, I'll say this. A lot of you are going to do things that you've never done. And it's going to be something that is outside of your own identity, right? A lot of us, we all have our own self-image, right? And we have a belief about our own selves, right? What we can and can't do. This is a whole thing. Right? I'm not going to dive deep into this, but we all have a belief in what we can and can't do. Like I have my own belief about what I can and can't do in terms of, work, relationships, and everything. Everyone has this. Like everyone watching this now, the replay, everyone has this, right? And in terms of your goal, you have a belief about what you can and can't do, right? Thinking about expectations, right? What's your expectation about this goal, right? Do you already see yourself doing it, or do you feel like you're going to have another 2020 where you're going to start and then fail, right? I encourage you to be okay when you do fail and then keep going, because what actually matters is failure. And again, kind of tying in, the whole Albert Einstein example is when you learn, right? When you're trying to do this thing you've never done and you do it and then you fail, right? Whether it means stopping, because I don't know, whatever happens, distractions, anything. How do I keep going, right? Because that's actually that is, if anything, is the gem, because you have to be able to keep applying the principle. You have to keep showing up for yourself to get what you desire. You have to be able to do that, right? And when you do fail, because it's gonna happen, right? Not and again, if we reframe what failure is, it's a step, right? So hopefully this now makes a little more sense. Hopefully this example is a little more compelling and makes more sense, right? Is if we're here and we're trying to get here, each step, if you can think about it, is what we would consider to be failure. Because if I'm here and I'm trying to get here, most people, what happens is they're just focusing, like their whole focus is on this goal over here. And if you think about it, let's say I'm trying to gain muscle, right? I'm trying to lose some weight, or whatever it is, because I want to improve my energy, my health. I want to be there for my family, my kids, and so on and so forth. And then today I show up to the gym, right? I show up, or I take the jog, whatever it is, around the block, whatever, right? And then I do it. I show up. I did it. And this is reality, right? Yeah. You're not gonna get your result that same day. I don't know anyone who's ever told me, or I haven't come across this, where they go to the gym for one day, work out for 2 hours, an hour, whatever, and then boom, they get the result that they desire. And so for a lot of people, right, if you can think about it, if my whole focus is on this goal, right, and I'm right here, technically it would be what most people think of as a failure. But you have to understand is when you show up, you're literally taking that one step to get closer, right? And so as you come into 2023, right, you really want to grow, whatever that looks like for you. Understand that there's going to be things that you've never done, and as a beginner, you may make mistakes, and all that is part of the process. You have to understand that that's going to be a part of the process. There's going to be days where you don't feel like it. That's part of the process, right? Someone mentioned earlier about accountability. You're going to have times if you haven't developed that self accountability about showing up every single day, even after a long day of work, the kids, whatever it may be, it's going to come up. And so when it comes up, whether you make the mistake, fall off, and just, I didn't show up today, keep going. Allow yourself to make those mistakes, right? Because a lot of people are trying to be perfect here, and again, I guess making 2023 a great year is avoiding trying to be perfect, trying to get it done right the first time, right? Allow yourself to make mistakes, right? Learn and grow. Oh, beautiful. They beat me to it. Yeah. Learn and grow from mistakes, right? You have to be able to do that, right? And that requires, we won't even dive into this, but that, I guess, that kind of calls into to having some level of self-love and self-worth. Are you willing to make enough mistakes, or to show up and make some mistakes to get what you desire? Like, seriously, ask yourself that. Are you willing to feel a little uncomfortable, get out of your comfort zone, right? Because growth only lives outside of our comfort zone. Are you willing to be able to be uncomfortable to get what you desire long enough, right? And I can't answer that for you. That's really you, right? So hopefully that ties in everything about the fear of failure. I'll kind of summarize it. Shout out to the king. Failure is part of the road to success. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that comment. Thank you, King. I'll summarize everything, but if anyone has any questions, make sure you put them in the comments. I'll go ahead and answer anything, and then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and share a quick little ad for us to share a gift to everyone who was able to stay on here to the full end. But it is this, right? Coming into 2023, you have to know where you are and where you're going, right? What happened in 2022, and again, if this may be right, if this makes sense to think about, is if you were trying to work on something in 2022 but you didn't get it right, what happened? Was it a fear of failure? Was it distractions? Be honest with yourself. Maybe I didn't want to show up. Maybe and let me tell you, lazy is not a good enough reason to say that, oh, this is why I didn't do it. Lazy is a reason for you. Like, lazy is something that has to do with you, right? If you said lazy, oh, I was lazy. Okay, that's great. So that was a you thing, right? That was a you thing, right? You have to work on that self accountability, right? So that's that, right? The next is this expectation, right? When I was a little kid, I believed in Santa like no other. Like, I knew that when I woke up, there was gonna be something on the tree, that bicycle, that whatever it was, right? You have to have the expectation, right? Coming into 2023, whatever that goal is, you have to have the expectation that you're going to be able to do it, right? But if you have an expectation that, oh my gosh, let's say you're trying to work on your health, but you have the expectation that it's going to be hard, that you're going to hate it, that X, Y, and Z, you're automatically setting yourself up for failure. But if you have the expectation that I can do this, right? I'm a beginner, it's going to be tough, right? But if I show up long enough, what happens is that you actually become the person that can do the things, right? That get the stuff, right? And that's really the success formula. Be, do, have, right? The next is fear of failure, right? Or actually, before I get into that, it's what's one thing, and this is really to think about what's one thing that you can do on a daily basis that can get you closer to that one thing that you desire, right? The next is fear of failure. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Like seriously, allow yourself to make mistakes because that's what's going to help you stick to the process, right? You're not going to get it done in one day, right? You're just not. Like be like that is it. And if there's anyone out there who tells you otherwise, I've never heard anyone who can do that. But more power to people who say that, right? The next is this, and this is actually the last point is self accountability, right? It is very important to become aware of what you say you're gonna do versus what you actually do. Like, if there's anything you take, like I'm serious, if there's anything you take from today, it is this: become aware of what you say you do. And this isn't anything, right? It doesn't have to be about your goals and stuff like that. But like, let's say you say, to your friend, your family, your partner, or whatever, you say you're gonna do something by a certain time, and then you actually don't do it, or you do it in a different way, you take longer, or whatever it is. You need to become so aware of that because that is affecting your goals. That is affecting you from that is holding you back from getting your goals, like from achieving your goals, getting your desires. Because if you say you're going to show up, right, you're going to go, exercise, whatever it is, or you're working on yourself, all that stuff, and then you actually don't do it because you don't feel like it, whatever, you need to understand that you're lying to yourself and your own self, right? We have a whole, in this, well, I'll share this in a bit, but we all have a self-belief about ourselves, right? We know what we can and can't do, whether that's true or not. That's it. And again, this is deeper. If you say you're going to do something, do it, right? I'm telling you, if you say you're going to do something, do it. Because if you don't, you're literally, whether you know this or not, you're creating a self-image or a self-belief that you're a liar, right? And I don't know about y'all, but I would not want to be around someone who's going to lie to me in that. If I'm thinking about my goals, right, I don't want to be lying to myself, right? I want to have the good health, the good wealth. I want to have prosperity, joy, happiness, abundance, right? And you all do deserve that, but you have to become aware of what you say versus what you do, right? So that's it for today. I'll let if anyone does have any questions, put them in the chat. Go ahead. But what I did want to say for everyone who did jump on and stayed until the very end, it is this: if you want, because again, thinking about now, where we are, where we're going, distractions, failure, the fear of failure, right? Being able to show up for yourself every single day, right? Thinking about that self accountability. We created a guidebook that's going to help you make 2023 your year, right? And so for anyone, this guidebook it's called the top 3 things that are destroying your growth, right? The guidebook itself is really to help create the environment, the mindset to help you grow, right? A lot of us have friends or family or in circles where they don't really support us in terms of what we desire, what our goals are, right? And if you're looking to grow, right, if you can think of a seed, right, and that's something that we do talk about, right? We are all seeds of greatness. If you put a seed in a soil that has no nutrients, it's completely dry, what do you expect that seed to do, right? If you don't give it the proper water, sun, and all that stuff, right? It'll never grow. It'll never prosper. And so the reason why we're talking just that specific part about the circle, or excuse me, your environment really, is that you need to put yourself in the right environment. Like seriously, if you're trying to make 2023 your year, but you have, your circle doesn't, it. And I guess the way it may look like is like, oh, hey, watch out. Hey, all of a sudden this person, he's too good for us. He's trying to work on his health, or they're trying to do this, or she's, this, or, whatever it is. That can't happen, right? So you sometimes have to change your environment to help you grow, right? To help nourish that growth, right? So if that makes sense, if that's a value for you, it's a complete free guidebook. What I'll do is if you can text the word growth to 855-487-9798. I'll put it in the chat right now. Text the word growth to 855-487-9798. Go ahead and do that, and we'll send you the link to get it for free, right? That's really going to help create the environment to help you, grow in 2023, right? And then the next thing, that's just the last thing is, before I answer any questions, if anyone has any, is if you're looking to grow and you're seeing this, hopefully you all got some value out of today. Let me know if you all did. Is we are this month hosting a 3-day growth challenge, right? It's a paid event, basically, that will help anyone who feels like they need help implementing the principles, right? So what we shared today is really just about the how, the why, like really thinking about the big picture of making 2023 our year, right? But what you also need to now take into account is, how do I do it? How do I actually show up? Because again, thinking about the whole journey, right? You're gonna have times where you don't feel motivated, right? That's on, like, even there's days for me where I don't feel like I want to like do the things that I'm supposed to do to get where I want to be, right? That's part of the process, right? And a quick example is, right, when you start your journey for growth in this year 2023, right? Let's say you want to do a detox, right? A lot of people want to detox their body. Beautiful, you deserve this, right? But what happens is, when you do that, you take that detox juice or whatever, do you automatically feel amazing? Do you feel great? No, you feel bad. Like, you sometimes have, your stomach you're basically fleshing out all the negative, all the bad stuff out of you. And so sometimes you might have, upset stomach, diarrhea, and all that stuff. But a lot of people, when they see that, they're like, oh my gosh, this thing is actually doing bad to me. No. This detox juice is not doing any bad to you. It's just trying to get rid of all the bad stuff that's inside of you, right? And that's part of the process. Because when you go to the gym, for the very first time, whether it's today or sometime this week, the next day you're going to feel sore, right? And a lot of people, when they feel that sense of soreness, they're like, oh no, this is not for me. Nope. You know what, this no that's part of the process. That's literally all the weakness getting outside of your body. So you have to be able to show up. But most people, when they see that or they feel that, they just stop. So they're literally holding themselves back because they don't know that one thing. They don't know what the process is. So if that makes any sense for y'all, go ahead, text the word 3-day growth challenge, right? Text the word 3-day growth challenge to 855-487-9798, and then we'll share with you all the link to register so you can get more information. And we'll also do a couple more lives about this. But let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna go ahead and answer some questions. And yeah, thank you all so much for jumping on. What's the number again? Okay, I'll put it in the chat right now, y'all. So again, the number is 855-487-9798. Text the word growth to get the free guidebook. That's to get the free guidebook. Now, within that same number, if you do want to get some more information about the 3-day growth challenge, you can text that same number, follow up within the same thing. Just text 3-day growth challenge. Here, I'm gonna pin the comment.